Hey friends, welcome back to another Wellness Wednesday. It is the Wednesday after Christmas. I hope all of you are doing okay. Sometimes this can be a hard time for a lot of different reasons, but hopefully you guys had a wonderful holiday with family and were able to enjoy it and not stress out about food. That's the worst, when food becomes the focus and you can't think about other things. That's really awful. So being able to set food aside in your brain, be able to enjoy it where it's able to be enjoyed, but then set it aside in your brain and then enjoy the rest of the stuff that's going on is a really beautiful place to be. So I hope that you guys all had that with your families and friends over the holiday. We had a really great holiday with our family. It was nice and relaxing and so much fun. I posted a video yesterday sharing about getting back to my baseline diet after the holidays. So if you haven't seen that, go ahead and check it out. I did enjoy things that were not on my regular diet and things that I know that if I ate a lot of every day, I would not feel well. So I enjoyed those on Thanksgiving. I enjoyed those on Christmas Eve, and then also on Christmas Day. I had some dairy, I had some sugar, I had tastes of little things here and there, and it was wonderful and I enjoyed it, but I knew that if I didn't get right back to my baseline plan or my baseline diet, the next day I would regret it. I do not regret anything I did on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, but I knew that if I had continued with eating like the leftovers and the treats that were still around, I knew I would regret it, and I didn't want that. So I hopped back on my baseline diet. That's what I'm kind of calling it, my baseline diet. It's not on the wagon or on plan or, staying strict. It's just my baseline diet. And sometimes I deviate from baseline, and that's okay. And that's still within plan. But that just helps me, kind of think about it. It's not a cheat if I go off. It's just eating something off of my baseline. And I always know that if I do eat something off of baseline, I gotta move back to baseline pretty quick, or it's gonna not make me feel well, I'm not gonna enjoy it, and I'm just not gonna feel healthy, and I wanna feel healthy. Anyways, that's what I did. Christmas Eve and Christmas, I enjoyed my indulgences, got right back on the day after Christmas. I did my What I Eat in a Day video on the day after Christmas, so on the 27th. And as you see in that video, I ate a little bit higher calorie than my normal baseline diet, and mainly that was just because it wasn't even that much more. It was 2,100 something. And typically my regular baseline diet comes in between 1,800 and 2,100. So it was pretty close to in line with normal, but on the higher end of normal. And that's because when I am getting back to my baseline diet after having indulgences, I find that I do struggle more with cravings, and I don't want to have to fight through hunger and cravings at the same time. That's the worst, and I will probably lose if I try to do that. So what I do is if I'm feeling hungry or feeling snacky, I just make sure I eat plenty of whatever, is on my baseline plan. So I don't always have snacks during the day, like an afternoon snack, but that day specifically, I was snacky in the afternoon. And so I had some olives and some pickles and some salami that was left over from our Christmas dinner. And that totally satisfied my snackiness, and I was totally happy after that. And then I find that after a couple of days of, just making sure I'm eating as much as I want to when I'm hungry of the foods that I know are good for my body, my appetite kind of levels out, my cravings disappear, and I'm back to smooth sailing. So basically that's where I'm at right now, is just smooth sailing. And I have been doing my baseline diet, my baseline maintenance diet I've really been doing it for the whole month of December. I kind of had the idea that I would throw in some lean days here and there in December, but I quickly found that my brain was not in the right space for that. And so that was easy to throw out the window, and it was totally fine because I was able to just do my baseline Ketovore diet, which is a little bit higher in fat, no lean days in there anywhere, and I was able to maintain pretty well. As of now, I'm about 2 or 3 pounds above my very lowest weight that I got to during my 2 months of weight loss phase during October and November. And I think after about a whole month of eating probably around that 2,000 calories a day of my regular Ketovore diet, plus the indulgences I had on, there were a few, like throughout the month, there was a couple of parties where I had a meal that was off my baseline diet, and then Christmas Eve and Christmas. So there was probably like 4 different days of the month that I ate off baseline. And so with eating my regular higher calorie Ketovore plan plus having those indulgences, I think having only gained 2 to 3 pounds in that time is pretty good, because I had just lost like 12 pounds. And I'm kind of just in a holding pattern right now. I'm still like just readjusting my appetite, getting back to my baseline diet with the higher fat level. And then I am planning on moving back into a weight loss phase in January. What better time than January to start a weight loss phase of your diet? And I know that there's a lot of pushback about the people that go to, start their diet in January. And there are a lot of people that will kind of scoff at that and just say, you should have more self-control all throughout the year and not have to, go purge in January after you binged all December. And there's kind of this little bit of a smugness about people that want to jump back onto something a little bit stricter in January. And I do understand that attitude, because I don't think we should be in a cycle where we binge for a long time and then we purge and then we go back into the binging and then purge. That's the binge and purge cycle that is so destructive and not healthy for anybody. But at the same time, I do really like the idea of having a rhythm to life and a rhythm to the year. And for me, I think there are times, I enjoy having times where it's more of a feasting time, like when we go to the beach in the summertime. That's a time where I enjoy more special foods and eating more food. I don't try to lose weight during that time. And then the holidays, of course, it's a time where there's all kinds of delicious food. And it's just not a time for me for losing weight. It's more of a time to enjoy the fellowship and enjoy the food and to put the weight loss goals on the back burner. Of course, I still try to be wise and not just gain a bunch of weight, because that could be really easy to do. But figuring out that balance of being in a time of feasting and enjoyment of food without, losing the control that you get when your diet is in line. So I've had that season of feasting and enjoyment of food, and I'm ready to move into a season of weight loss. And not that I don't enjoy food during the weight loss phase, I definitely do, but it's just not as much of a focus. So here is what I am planning for my January weight loss push. I had such great success in October. I keep saying September. I started at the end of September. And then October and November, I did sprinkling and lean days. All of October, I did every other day a lean day and then a higher fat day. And then in November, I switched it to only 3 days a week of lean days and then 4 days a week of regular higher fat days. And I continued to lose really well, even just with the 3 days a week of lean days. And so that's what I think I am going to start implementing here in January. The schedule worked out really well for me to do lean days on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And that gives me 2 regular Ketovore days back to back, being Sunday and Monday. And so if for some reason I have a event or something on Saturday, I can always switch my lean day to the Sunday, and it gives me that little bit of flexibility. It also gives me the consistency in my week where my lean days are always the same days of the week. It helps me plan better. When I was doing every other day, every other week would be different. So it was a little bit more annoying to try to figure out my schedule. But that schedule works so well for me as far as weight loss that is what I am going to jump back into. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I also am going to continue with the no dairy. So I had some dairy here and there throughout the month of December. I never went back to as much dairy as I had been eating back before I gave up dairy in September. But I did have enough over this last month that I really learned what dairy does to me. I was in denial about it. Like I think I knew in the back of my mind what it was doing, but I didn't want to admit it, and it wasn't obvious enough that I had to admit it. And so now that I've gone through this and I have really, really seen the effect that dairy has on me, it definitely will be easier to say no to it from now on. That's one of the empowering reassuring things about truth is that it actually does set you free. Like, I can look at dairy and instead of, being in denial about it, I can know the truth of what it does to my body. And that actually makes it easier for me to say no. I am more free to say no to dairy when I know the effect it is going to have. So as of the day after Christmas, I did cut out all dairy except for ghee and except for butter. And I'm considering in January going back to no butter and having ghee be the only dairy that I use. The main way that I've been using butter is the butter powder. Well, actually, I do have some just regular butter, spread on different things. But I've been using the butter powder for my egg bread, and that makes it absolutely delicious, of course. But one of the ingredients in the butter powder that I use is milk powder, and it's very, very minimal. There's very little carbs, so I know there's not a lot of lactose in it, but it is there. And being that I know that I don't do super well with dairy, I'm thinking I might cut that out for a little while. And I am going to be experimenting with my egg white bread, the butter bread recipe, but using things like coconut milk powder, maybe MCT oil powder, and other things that I could use that are dairy-free, that are a replacement, and just see if I can get a similar taste and a similar effect with the bread. But as of right now, I haven't given up butter yet. I think I will do that January 1st. So those are my January diet plans. I'm excited to see how it goes, see how my body responds. My body responded really well to this, adding in the lean days this last few months. But bodies change, and in different seasons, my body responds to things differently, so may respond completely differently. We will see. I am in my weight. I'm in the low 150s right now. I would be very excited if I was able to get down into the 140s during this challenge. That would be really cool. But as always, I kind of let my body take the driver's seat in this. I will be listening to my sleep, hunger, energy, mood, and cravings, shmec. I've talked about that a lot in my Wellness Wednesdays. That's from Jade Tita, who I absolutely love learning from about metabolism and all that. But I pay attention to all of those things really, really carefully whenever I make any kind of a dietary change. Because if my body starts, getting out of check in those areas, I know that whatever I'm doing needs to be tweaked and changed until those are in line. Because I have found that anytime I have pushed my body to lose weight when those things are not in check, the weight loss doesn't stay. It's one of those things where it's kind of like stretching a rubber band. You can, stretch it for a while, but eventually it's either going to snap back or it's going to break. It's not something that can just be sustained. So I know that if I am able to keep all of those things in check, and if I can somehow get my body, nudge my body into weight loss, that kind of weight loss is the kind that's more easy to maintain. And that's what I have found for myself, from my own experience and experimentation. So that is my plan for January for myself. In our Indigo Cafe group that I shared about a couple of videos ago, we are going to be discussing what we are all doing for January and if we want to start some kind of a challenge or group thing together. So if you're interested in joining that group and getting in on that conversation, check the link down below. It's $4.99 a month to join, and basically it's just a way to get more of a community, more of a conversation based on the stuff I put out in my videos, more than what the YouTube comments allow. You guys can post pictures, ask questions. You guys can form more of a community there with each other and give and get support from each other. And it's just been so fun so far. So if you want to join that, check the link down below. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you again in another video.